What's up YouTube? This is Bystander X79 coming to you today with the latest video in my Dueling Academy 101 series. Today's video is going to be on spells and traps. Alright, spells and traps are very key components to this game, though popular opinions may not favor one particular card. I can tell you right now, they are core components in this game, and when you're learning this game, you need to learn how all cards work and how all cards interact with each other. So not only are we going to be talking about the different types of spells and traps, we're also going to be talking about spell speeds of all cards in this game, as well as chains, which are how the cards interact with each other. Alright. So without further ado, we're going to get started. We've seen this card before. This is what we call a normal spell. Normal spells, basically you activate it face up, follow the instructions on the card, resolve the effects on the card, and then send the card to the graveyard. So that's basically what normal spells do. All spell cards are colored green, while the trap cards are colored purple. They'll have the kanji for spell or trap in the upper right hand corner. Alright, and underneath it you will see that says spell card. Thing about it is that the other spell cards I'm going to show you have different icons on them, and that helps you identify what they do, just at a glance. The first card I'm going to show you is a card that we've seen in the previous video. This is going to be the ritual spell, and how I know it's a ritual spell, the ritual icon, which is basically the bowl with the flames in it. That stands for the ritual offering. Basically, again, just like a normal spell, you activate from your hand, follow the instructions on the card to resolve it, and then send the card to the graveyard after you finish summoning the monster. Okay, next card we have is a quick play spell card. How can you tell it's a quick play? If you look up here, we see the lightning icon. Now, quick play spell cards are pretty cool cards. They can be activated in response to a lot of different effects, specifically spell and trap card effects, in order to destroy other spell and trap cards, in the case of Mystical Space Typhoon. Cool thing about quick play spell cards is that they can actually be utilized kind of like trap cards. One thing about all the other spell cards is that you can set them and then activate them on the same turn. In this particular situation, if you set a quick play spell card, you have to wait till your opponent's turn to be able to utilize it. And that kind of signals this card's use a little bit more like a trap. Okay, but like all spells, once you activate it and resolve its effects and follow the instructions, it goes to the graveyard. After you use it, it doesn't stay on the field. Now, there are 3 spells that do stay on the field after you activate them. The first one here is the equip spell. The equip spell has the cross icon next to its same spell card, and basically all equip spells, what they do is they basically add attack power and card effects to the monsters that you're equipping them to. A lot of times you're going to want to have your equip spell in the zone behind the monster you're equipping it to, just to make sure you can remember which ones are which. The thing about it is that equip spells cards will remain on the field as long as the monster is equipped to remains on the field. So if that monster is destroyed by battle or card effect, the equip spell is destroyed. If the card is banished, the equip spell is destroyed. Or even if the monster is flipped face down, the spell card will be destroyed. The spell card will be destroyed, so be careful with that. Another spell card that remains on the field is the continuous spell, Return of the Monarchs. It has the icon, continuous is the little infinity icon, so it stays on the field until itself is removed from the field. Typically, most continuous spells just have effects that activate when they're on the field. A lot of times it can be power boosts or preventing players from doing something during a turn. And then again, there are also continuous spells that have card effects that activate under certain circumstances. In case of Return of the Monarchs, if you ever tribute summon a monster, you can then search your deck for a monster with 2400 attack 1000 or 2800 attack and 1000. Because this card has an effect that it activates, it makes this a card a little bit more vulnerable to cards like Mystical Space Typhoon. So whenever this card's effect activates, your opponent can chain Mystical Space Typhoon to this card's effect's activation. And by doing that, the way it works is that this card resolves first in the chain, and then which will destroy this, and then the effect will not happen. So be very careful with continuous spells that have effects that activate. Last card, spell card that remains on the field are field spells. Now, field spells don't go into the 5 spell and trap cards in the back row. They actually go into the field spell zone, which is in the upper left-hand corner. Most of the older field spells, they just power boost a lot of different monsters, and those effects can be applied to both sides of the field. The newer field spells are a little bit more one-sided and favor the players to actually activate them, because a lot of times those field spells have great synergy with the other monsters and spells and traps that are in the deck. Okay, in this particular situation, it does give a power boost to Necro Valley does give a power boost to all Gravekeeper monsters, but it also prevents either player from either banishing monsters from the graveyard or special summoning monsters from the graveyard unless it's under that monster's particular effect to do so. If the monster has the ability to bring itself back from the graveyard, while Necro Valley Necro Valley won't affect it, but if it's through another card effect, it's not going to happen. Alright, so that's it for the spells. There are 7 different types of spells. On to the traps. Alright. We have normal traps. Basically, normal traps are just kind of like normal spells, except one thing is that you have to set traps and then wait for your opponent's next turn to be able to activate them. Some trap cards don't even have to be activated, they just have to be destroyed in order to activate their effects. In case of Wicked the Dragon, that's what happens. You can send it to your back row. If your opponent pops it, you get the special summon of a monster from the extra deck. Alright, we have traps even have continuous traps, which have effects that remain on the field. Typically, a lot of these traps have continuous disruption abilities to prevent your opponent from doing something, or they have continuous effects that actually can help you further your game state. Alright, and last and not least but traps is we have counter traps. Counter traps have the return arrow icon next to the trap card things, and counter traps are very, very powerful because they are typically used to respond to specific situations in a duel and basically stop that scenario from happening altogether. In this particular situation, if a monster is ever added from the graveyard to your hand, you can activate this card and basically force them to discard that monster and any other monsters with the same name, which is pretty cool for this card. Okay, now before we go on, I'm going to turn around and talk a little bit about spell speed now. Now there are 3 spell speeds in this game. We have spell speed 1, which is basically things like that contain flip the deck monsters, ignition effects, or trigger effects, and ignition effects. Continuous effects don't really turn around and apply because they're not activated. The effects just appear on the field when a monster is summoned. There also includes field spells, continuous spells, equip spells, ritual, and normal spells. So all these spell cards right here, all these cards right here are all classified as spell speed 1 cards. Alright? Why? That makes them the slowest out of all the cards, and the thing about it is that you can't really resolve spell speed 1 cards in a chain unless multiple effects activate at the same time. And the best case I can turn around and give you is that in case of a Burning Abyss deck, I did put up a profile about Burning Abyss monsters, or Burning Abyss deck, within the past couple of weeks. Check out the video, but whenever they are all monsters with trigger effects. Whenever they hit the graveyard, their effects activated. So if you send multiple Burning Abyss monsters to the graveyard in one particular turn, they all turn around and all their effects will activate in their own chain, and the player who controls those monsters chooses what effects to activate in what order, which is kind of important because you can then turn around and kind of protect some of your monster effects from going off if your opponent could attempt to negate them. That's what we call chain blocking. Alright. Spell speed 1. But most of the time you're not going to be able to respond to a spell speed 1 with another spell speed 1. You need to use the 2 higher spell speeds. And the 2 higher spell speeds will include quick effect monsters, quick play spells, as well as normal and continuous traps. Alright, these are all classified as spell speed 2s. They usually are the ones that are used to respond to other card effects in the game. You can respond to spell speed 1s, you can respond to other spell speed 2s as well with these cards, which is awesome in this particular situation. Okay, and the last spell speed is going to be spell speed 3, and that only contains counter traps. These are the fastest cards in the spell speed category. This card belongs in the category because they typically negate an activation of other card effects. And the only way to stop them is to activate another card effect, another counter trap to stop them. So, that being said, that's it for this 3 spell speeds. Now, talking about chains, we have, let's just turn around and say we have an effect, Aqua Dolphin. Neospatian Aqua Dolphin activates this effect. Your opponent has a card face down, and what happens is that you can actually chain your opponent can then turn around. Your opponent activates the Neospatian Aqua Dolphin. They have a face down card on the field. So this is how their field looks like. Bang, bang. You activate Mystical Space Typhoon, target their card. It goes to the graveyard, which then turns around and triggers its effect, and then summons out another monster from this extra deck. That's in this particular case, but that's the way chains usually work. You activate an effect, you respond with another effect, and then you resolve the cards backwards. So whichever the fastest spell speed was, will resolve first, and then the other spells, and then the slower spell speeds resolve after it. So spell speed 2 will resolve. Mystical Space Typhoon will resolve, destroying the face down card. Aqua Dolphin's effect will go off, and then Waking the Dragon's effect will resolve in a separate chain because it can't be activated and respond to another card. So it will resolve after this chain, and it'll summon out the other monster from the extra deck. Okay. I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to do that. And ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today's video on spells and traps. Guys, if you have any other questions about spells and traps, spell speeds, or even chains, please leave them in the comments below. Give the video a thumbs up if you like it. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this on my channel. Hit the notification bell. Be alerted whenever I throw up new videos. And guys, until next time, peace.